percent p here. If it works at one place, it will work at second place also. Technically both are nothing but variables. This is currently running. To stop running, I should do Control C. Okay, I go back, I recompile the code and I execute it again. Now it has printed me the address OX. This is the hexadecimal number. I was right about it that the addresses are treated as hexadecimal numbers, but the format specifier that I was trying to use to print was different. So you just note this address is very big because the machine architecture is 64-bit. That's the reason. On Turbo C3 editor, you will get 6-digit value or 8-digit value, not more than that. Okay, so I'm having 4. So I've inputted first value 4. So element number 1 of B is stored at this particular address. Now I go ahead, give an input. Element 2 of B is stored at this particular address. Can you see the difference in the address? B0, B4. Okay, B0, B4 means here the integral value that I am using by default is 4 bytes of size, and that is what exactly I was trying to refer to when I said character, integer, float. They are double of the size of each other, and depending on machine architecture you will get different sizes. यहाँ पे B0, B1, B2, B3 4 bytes are used for storing one integral value. Okay, now if I go and give another input, that value is going to get stored at B8. So B4 के बाद B8 पे value आया है. So this is another point verified कि जब मैं बोलता हूँ कि array store होता है as a consecutive memory location, this is exactly what is happening. Every element that I am giving input and storing it in array, it is getting stored at a particular address which is connected to the base address of the array. Okay, have we verified the fact? Yeah, Atharva is saying something. Sir, but we haven't initialized any pointer variable, then how %p is working? That's good. Cool question. And the simple answer to this fact is we have not initialized any pointer anywhere, but whenever I declare an array like this, or any variable for that matter, n over here, I give a name to a variable. What is that name? That name is nothing but an alias to some memory address. So whenever I am extracting %n, I am trying to actually imply to the compiler that I am trying to get the address of some arbitrary pointer that is pointing to a memory location. So that is why %p works over here. %p is working because it is actually showing you an address. That's all it's there. And those who googled it will know that p here is trying to print a void pointer. Okay, so those who have googled, those two people who gave the answer by googling, %p is printing a void pointer. Okay, that's the other thing that you should know. It's not an integer pointer, it's a void pointer. And since it's a void pointer, even if we are not initializing it, we don't know its data type, it's still working. Okay, let us go ahead a bit and do one more thing. So I'm actually removing this part from here now, because this loop is now going to take only inputs. Okay, I'll do some more funny things with the array. Okay, and here, so we are printing element number %d of b is stored at p. This I don't want now, so I'll say base address address of array b is, so I'm trying to know the base address of array b, and I'm trying to know it maybe by writing b and %b over here. Okay, so we'll see what happens. We know that using %p I'm printing an address, and I'm trying to say that the variable name b is nothing but an address to the base location of the array. So base element or the first element of the array is at index 0. So ampersand b of 0 will definitely going to fetch me the initial address of the element. Okay, I'm again going to stop executing this. Now remember that next time when we'll compile and run this code, we may get different addresses, and that is always there because at the time of execution the allocation of memory happens, or we may get exactly same address as well because my execution unit or my CPU may decide, or my operating system may decide to give same address again, but it's naturally not going to happen. We'll see what happened. So I've removed that first statement as well. So now it printed 50. Okay, should not. Take a minute. I just see that I have saved the program or not. I have not saved the program. Sorry, I have to save the program. Now that new changes that I have done, this scanf will run through for 5 elements, and then it will print the base address. I actually don't require this. Only the declaration is sufficient, but still I'm keeping that middle part there. Okay, so okay, it's not saved yet. Sorry, I saved it, but I did not compile it. So that thing you need to remember. You need, after every time doing any changes, save in the editor, recompile the program, and then try to execute it. Okay, so I have to give quickly 5 elements as input, and then the base address of B is OX7FFD3 F something 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 B0 and B0. These are the same thing. So what I wanted to make as a point here is that, okay, I'll shift this. When I want to refer to the base address of an array, I can use its name, or I can use the index notation. So B of 0 will index the 0th element and give me the address of 0th element. So naturally name of array always refers to the base address of the array element. That's an important fact about arrays that we verified by writing a small debug code. So many a times it will happen. So why I have actually done this exercise is not to give you an insight into arrays or insight into the addressing of the that is used in arrays. The important fact to learn over here is, whenever I get stuck with some issue in programming, I can always write small code in order to understand how that program executes. Fine. So that's what we want to understand here, and that is what we are trying to understand. Okay, fine. Now what I am going to do is, instead of printing these elements, if I scanning these elements, if I try to print the elements before even initializing them, so print array B. So I am printing array B, and after each element I am having a space. So there are 5 elements. There should be 5 elements actually in array B, and before maybe initializing I try to print those elements. This is the scenario that I am enacting, and what it says, argument 2 has, okay, I should not print the address, sorry, now I need to print the value. So I am trying to print the value of the elements. We have talked about the initialization and other things, and similarly I will copy this code and I will also do the same maybe for, so I have 3 arrays, right, A, B and C, so I will do it for A as well. So for array B and array A, I will be printing value. Now this is going to be 3 because there are 3 elements. Fine. So I will just quickly do. I am sorry for not keeping my programs ready, and it is actually making us take a lot of time. Unfortunately I did not get time yesterday to write the codes. See what is happening. So I am printing array A, it prints me value 10, 20, 30. When I am printing array B, I am not getting any error. The compiler is not cribbing that I have not initialized the array. It is printing 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 values. Okay, what these values are? These values are random values. Yesterday while closing the session I talked about, whenever I declare an array or any variable for that matter and I do not initialize it and try to access it, some residual values at the memory address can be fetched and displayed to you. Sometimes though it may happen that you may get segmentation fault because you are trying to access some memory locations which are accessing some part of the data or code segment. Okay, so that's the thing. You won't get any error from compiler or any cribbing from compiler, any warning from compiler if you try to do something like this. But if this could have been used in somewhere, some calculations, this a of I or this b of I values, these b of I values, then you could have got some wrong calculations done. So whenever you are writing a program with arrays, you should be very careful of initializing the values somehow. You can initialize them like this directly, or you can use a precise loop to initialize them. So now we'll actually do what? We'll actually initialize the array b elements which has some default value as 0, and then maybe when you are actually, so we can call it as initialization, and then I can actually use this same loop, okay, which I am copy pasting for printing array b. So this cycle many a time students tend to forget, and that's the reason I am trying to revise it. You will feel like sir ये बहुत basic है, ये तो हमको आता है, but I am doing this deliberately. Although it's a basic thing, we many times it happens that difficult things we do easily, easier things we tend to forget and we tend to make mistakes in those. So it is better we revise easier stuff as well, not only the difficult stuff. Okay, so now I am getting 0 0 0 0 0 properly. Okay, so this is what I wanted to make a point in, कि आप जब भी कोई array का program करते हो, it is always better you initialize your values. Better, it's not a convention. You will have some residual value, and if you are assigning before printing, then there is no issue. But if you are printing, or if you are using, or as it is called as accessing the value and using it in computation before assigning it some default value or some actual computational value to any array element, or for that matter for any variable, it is going to create problems. Okay, that was a general discussion. Now we go to our first program today. That program is we want to have a single dimensional array. We call generally it as a list or array list of elements, and then we want to sort that list of elements into an organized manner. So this is a program which takes input number of elements in array in variable n, then it takes input the array elements from the user. So we are safe here because we are taking input, we have not initialized array of 10 here, we are just declaring an array of 10 values, and then we are taking an input from user n. As I told you yesterday's program also, this particular printf statement should tell my user that there are 10 elements in the array, otherwise user might use n's value bigger than 10 and then there could be a problem. Okay, do you want to see what problem could happen? I will just create a scenario like that. So there is, say, a is having value 3, n is having value 5. Okay, we are taking input, so input a, this is going to run now up to n, and n is 5. So I am going to do scanning, okay, scanf, and in that I am scanning an integer value that is going to get stored in, it is going to get stored in a of what? A of I, right? Fine. Now I will be printing a after taking input. It is again going to run from I is equal to 0 up to n. N is 5. Please see that a has 3 values, n is 5. This is the scenario where user inputs more than the numbers which are stored in array, and I am trying to enact that scenario. Now I will be printing, okay, So please pardon me that I'm wasting some of your discussion time, precious discussion time.